What's up, everybody? Good morning. We made it to the start of yet another work week. And with a new work week comes a new position to look at in the draft. And today we're going to be all about safety, specifically free safety. But I need to stress here, I've said this before, but it bears repeating. The distinctions between safety are not that big of a deal for the Seahawks at this point. The Seahawks, with the Mike McDonald defense that they're going to be implementing, want safeties that are versatile, safeties that can do both free safety and strong safety stuff. They play deep, they play in the box, they do some man defense. They need to be able to bring multiple things to the table. They can't just be one-trick ponies. So, for the purposes of the draft, I divided them up into two groups to make things more digestible. But it's important to note going forward that when we're evaluating a safety, if we come to the conclusion that, oh, he's just a free safety or he's just a strong safety, that may be a problem. We're looking for guys who are just safeties. So keep that in mind. If we find a guy who's really, really, really good at one thing but not good at the other thing, that may be a deal breaker. It's possible that you could see modifications to McDonald's defense for now, but we would prefer not to. We'd prefer to let him do things the way he wants to do things. So you look at the safety position in Seattle right now, you've got Rayshawn Jenkins on a 2-year deal with a 1-year easy out, and you've got Julian Love in the last year of his deal. So we're not really super hard committed to any of that. Both safeties could be out of here after a year, and we need long-term solutions here. Kayvon Wallace, I think, presumably, we don't know yet, is on a 1-year deal. And I think Kayvon Wallace is pretty good, but I don't think he's a long-term solution. And then you've got Jarek Reed the second, the only guy here who there is any kind of long-term commitment to, and it's not that much. He was a UDFA, and oh, I'm sorry, he was no, he was actually a very late round draft pick, but still no real commitment. And also, he tore his ACL last year, and who knows how that's going to affect him? Who knows how it affects our perception of him? So there's not really anything going on at the safety position that is long term. It could all be gone next year very easily. Wouldn't surprise anybody. So we probably need to add on here. I don't think Ty Okada is going to be the savior. So very likely we will draft at least one safety in this upcoming draft. And there are some pretty good ones. There are no studs. I don't think anybody's overly likely to go first round, but some good guys. Tyler Nubin is, I believe, the best safety in the draft, and we'll start with him. Minnesota Golden Gopher, going to be 23 when the season starts. 6'1", 199 pounds, 32-inch arms, 9-inch hands. Just going to go ahead and have our broccoli first before we get to the dessert here because, yeah, we're going to talk about that pro day, which was abysmal. 4.7, 440, 5th percentile. Just to give you an idea of how bad that is, James Williams, who has like 30 pounds on Tyler Nubin, ran a 4.65. So Tyler Nubin ran like a snail at his pro day. There's no other way to put it. 4.74 is abysmal for a guy who's not even 200 pounds. His 31.5-inch vert is also really bad, not even 10th percentile. His broad jump was okay, 10 feet. His 20-yard shuttle was off the charts awful. 4.56 is 1st percentile. It's hard to be worse as a safety. So that's alarming. It has to be alarming. That makes you wonder, is he going to be able to translate his game to the NFL? Is he going to be able to keep up his production at the NFL level when everybody's bigger and faster and stronger? Now, I believe that Tyler Nubin is a great football player, and he's just not a good tester, and that his admittedly meager athletic profile in some regards shows up much better on a football field, but that could be a collegiate thing. That could be something that doesn't manifest at all in the pros. The big boards, they mostly have him in the second. PFF has him in the first. Walter Football has him in the third. The aggregate has him in the early to mid second, which at this point I think is probably going to happen. I think he got knocked out of the first by that miserable pro day. But the production has been really good over the last 2 years. 53 tackles each of the last 2 seasons, a few tackles for loss, a sack, 9 interceptions, 7 passes defense, 2 forced fumbles, and really good PFF grades, especially last year, 89.2. really, really well graded by PFF. So Tyler Nubin is bringing a lot of positive stuff on the field to bear here. He's got great ball skills when he's tracking. His tracking skills are great. He looks like the wide receiver out there with how much it looks like the ball is meant for him with how aggressively he goes after it. His tracking skills are on point. He's a rangy and fundamental tackler. He's able to cover a lot of ground, and he's able to utilize his short area quickness, which didn't show up at the pro day, admittedly, but he does have that stuff in order to bring down tacklers even in the open field. He reads routes and reacts to what he reads. He's a good route reader. He's got good instincts as a safety. He's got the full package in terms of the talent and ability that he's bringing to the table in that regard. He's also got the agility to hang with receivers in man coverage when he needs to. He's got the ability to read a route and follow the route and stick with his man because of his change of direction. He's a rare safety prospect with the ability to play backer in the box and do both very well. So he does kind of fit what we're looking for here in a safety, theoretically, right? He's versatile. He can play in the box, he can play back, and he can do it both. But we have to ask ourselves, how much of that stuff will translate to the NFL? Like, the testing numbers are so bad that either he had a really bad day or he just doesn't, he just isn't feeling it until he actually hits a football field, or his instincts just completely make up for the fact that he's not a very good athlete, or he's just going to flop in the NFL because he can't keep up. I don't know what it is. This one's really tough. His acceleration overall is kind of lackluster, at least on tape. He doesn't get up to top speed very quickly, and his top speed isn't even that good. And I do feel like while I think he's good as a tackler, he's good in the box, his trigger when he's playing back and he reads run needs to be a little more decisive. When he reads run, he needs to just go. And sometimes it seems like he hangs back for an extra split second that can cost you. So it's just that little piece of decision making that I think he needs to maximize to make up for the fact that he's just not that great of an athlete. That's what it seems like to me. Even if these testing numbers are off and he could do much better if he retested today, like, this is still heavily suspect. So I think he's still the clear top safety in this class based off what he actually does on tape, what he actually did at Minnesota for the Golden Gophers. And he's got a very versatile skill set to fit in with McDonald's defense if you watch him at college. But you're going to have to just take it on faith that he's a football player. You're going to have to look at him and go, yeah, this is a football player. This is somebody who, when he gets on a football field, is really, really productive and really, really good. Even though I'm looking at his test scores and it's making me wonder. You're just going to have to take it on faith that he can overcome that when he's put on a football field. I'm still good with it, but I'd be lying if I said that this didn't give me pause. This has to give you pause. It's like a quarterback who does a lot of damage with his legs scrambling in college, and then he runs like a 4.840 or a 4.940, and it makes you think, well, maybe that's not going to work in the NFL, and sometimes it doesn't. So I used to have him in the late first. That's a little bit of a harder sell for me now. I think that we have to bump him down into the early second just because these numbers are so bad. I still like him a lot. I still would take him at the top of the safety class for sure, but it's tough. All right, more safeties coming later today. See you guys later. Go Hawks.